Governor, old show you falling behind Trump. Any thoughts on that?
I'm not a candidate, so we'll see if and when that changes.
Somebody's having a bad week.
But for you to run, there's got to be a lane. How are you different than Ron DeSantis, who I understand you haven't really spoke to since January? You guys don't have a good relationship, right?
Well, he seems to struggle with relationships generally. I mean, I look people in the eye when I shake their hands. You had mentioned earlier in the program that he doesn't get along with the governor. He's had a real struggle with the Florida congressional delegation, most of which are supporting the former president. There was an article last night that talked about the fact that he wasn't even calling people personally, that his fundraiser was the one, or his, I think, pollster was the one that was calling.
Florida Governor Ron DeSantis is acting like an unhinged bobblehead because he's facing the toughest week of his presidential campaign. And like Ron said, he hasn't even officially announced yet. And to make matters worse, now this image is going to be burned real deep in your brain. DeSantis has been facing a tidal wave of negative press from his Republican colleagues, who are basically calling him the next Jeb Bush. Congressman Greg Steube called DeSantis distant. Others have called his war on Disney unnecessary and a costly distraction. But the worst insult comes from someone DeSantis considers a friend, former Congressman David Trott. Trott told Politico, "I sat right next to DeSantis for 2 years on the Foreign Affairs Committee. He never said a single word to me. He didn't introduce himself or even say hello. It's actually getting pretty hard to find anyone willing to say they support Ron DeSantis. That includes old friends like South Carolina Congresswoman Nancy Mace, who had some sharp criticism for Florida's 6-week abortion ban.
We haven't learned anything if we're going to sign a 6-week ban mandating rape victims reported to police to get an exception and do it in the dead of night. That is not where the American people are. You can be pro-life and be pro-woman. The two are not mutually exclusive. And as a rape victim, I want Ron DeSantis to know what rape victims have to go through. We will not win the popular vote in 24 if we continue down this path of extremism.
And the shine is really starting to come off Ron DeSantis for most Republicans. DeSantis is now running nearly 40 points behind Donald Trump for the nomination. After unpopular battles against Disney and librarians, DeSantis is bleeding in the polls, and his media appearances are only making things worse. For the first time, Ron DeSantis is taking serious heat from within his own party, and he's not handling it well. DeSantis joined Fox News ghoul Sean Hannity on Tuesday to make maybe the whiniest response to a Donald Trump attack ever.
What do you think happened?
You know, I enjoyed supporting him when he was president. We worked really hard for his re-election in Florida. And I always had a good relationship with him. And then once the midterm election happened, he started taking shots at me. I didn't really do anything to do it except do a good job.
Just 2 short months ago, Fox News was calling Ron DeSantis the future of the MAGA movement. Now one of DeSantis' biggest donors is cutting ties with the governor over his so-called war on wokeness. DeSantis doesn't need the media to win the Republican nomination, but he does need money, and that is drying up. The pressure is clearly getting to DeSantis, who left Florida during a state emergency to take a vacation to Japan. Trump has proven he can pull endorsements and even money away from Ron. That's all it took for many Republicans to go running back to Team Trump. It's now uncertain whether Ron DeSantis will announce his candidacy at all, and that by itself is an incredible statement of just how unstable the Republican Party has become. MAGA is still a 100% Donald Trump production. Ron DeSantis just learned that the hard way. Well, that was a journey, and if you want even more, check out this video, and remember to subscribe to the channel and leave a comment below, so you can let me know what I should cover next.